Hi, everyone. Welcome to the fourth week of the spring semester in British literature. And this is an exciting week, at least in my opinion, because this week we're going to take a look at political debate. So here's how I like to frame this. Prior to the advent of Fox News and MSNBC and all those other news channels, prior to social media, there were something called pamphlets. And these pamphlets were usually political tracts that were designed to express political ideas and to instigate and participate in debate. So today people mostly do that on social media. So you've probably seen it, right? Somebody posts a meme or makes a comment that's politically charged, and the people that agree with this, they hit the like button or the heart button or whatever button it is that they're going to hit, and then the people that disagree will jump in and say, well, I disagree with you for this reason. And sometimes these things can turn personal, right? So you might post something and somebody disagrees with you, calls you a bad name. So you think that, this is something that's new to social media. This is not new to social media. This has been going on for hundreds of years in other forms. So what we're going to see this week as we look at the French Revolution is that Edmund Burke is going to publish a paper saying that the French Revolution is a bad thing, and we're going to look at Mary Wollstonecraft and Thomas Paine, and yes, it is that Thomas Paine. We're going to look at their responses to that. Now, bear in mind as you read this that Edmund Burke did have a lot of supporters. A lot of people did agree with Edmund Burke. But what I'm trying to show you here is that he published something called the Reflections on the French Revolution, or the Revolution in France, that raised the hackles of many people that disagreed with him, and two people that disagreed with him: Mary Wollstonecraft, who would be the mother of Mary Shelley, who would write Frankenstein, and Thomas Paine, who wrote Common Sense in American History. He also, after he left America, returned back to Europe, and so he wrote Rights of Man about his disagreements with Burke. And so here's what I've done for this week. So, of course, there's the reading quiz. So you have to understand Burke's position, which is pro-crown, which is that he did not agree with the people in France rising up against their king. And now he had not been beheaded yet. Neither had Marie Antoinette. They were still just in prison. But he did not agree with the overthrow of the French crown. Because he believed that people who were born into wealth should continue to have wealth. People who are not born into wealth should not get it unless they work really hard for it. And then Wollstonecraft and Paine supported the people that were rebelling against the king in the French Revolution. The king, by the way, was Louis XVI, and his wife was the very famous Marie Antoinette. So they said, hey, it is a good thing that these people are showing that the king cannot, be this tyrant. So pay close attention to what these arguments are. And what I've done, I could not possibly make you read the entire pamphlet by Burke and the entire pamphlet by Paine and the entire pamphlet by Wollstonecraft. That would be about 500 or 600 pages of reading, which you don't have time to do. But I have selected certain pages that will show the crux of each person's argument. And what I specifically selected were things that Burke said that then Wollstonecraft and Paine would disagree with. So I think you're going to find this a very exciting and very interesting look at political debate in the late 1700s, as opposed to what we see here nowadays, or actually very much compared to what we see these days. And so in the vein of trying to make this relevant to today, what I have done is this. I don't have you writing a paper this week. I have you using the slideshows, like PowerPoint or whatever slide thing you can do, to create a mock social media debate between Burke versus Wollstonecraft and Paine. So what I want you to do is be very creative with this and have fun with this, but use quotes from the people that are involved. Use quotes from Burke and then use quotes from Paine and Wollstonecraft. Now, you may have to add some quotes. You may have to invent some quotes. and that's fine. I also want to see things like emojis, right? Emoticons, whatever you want to call them, right? I want to see that if Payne says something, inflammatory against Burke, that Wollstonecraft likes it, something like that. Um, things like that. Or maybe Burke says something and Payne gives that little angry face if you're doing the Facebook thing. So choose your own format, right? Make it look like a Facebook debate, make it look like a Twitter debate, make it look like an Instagram, whatever you know that people are going to use for political debate. But, take this argument from 1790s, right, about 1789 through about 1791, and make it look like it was happening in the year 2021. So that's this week's assignment. And by the way, if you're wondering why I'm making you read stuff from the French Revolution in a British literature class, is because the British were very much paying attention to what was going on. And they really, really were looking closely at what was going on in France, because they were thinking to themselves, well, we got King George III here who's a bit loony. Do we want to overthrow him too? And of course, obviously, the British did not, because they still have a queen, Queen Elizabeth II, and her son Charles may take over someday if she ever dies. But I really think that we do the same thing today, right? We look at what's going on in other countries and compare them to what's going on here, and we say, hey, why don't we do it like that country does? And somebody else says, because we're American, that's why. So you see that going on a lot too. So the French Revolution, political debate, pamphlets, convert those over to social media. I think that if you approach this like this is going to be a very fun project, this is something totally different than what you do in other classes, then I think you're going to enjoy it quite well.